Welcome in, ladies. Welcome in. So this is going to be a training on 3 rules that women that win live by. And I wanted to come on and do this training because I've been talking all week about women who win. I've been talking about the winner circle. I've been talking about all the things that are coming up, right? All the amazing things, play to win. There's a lot of winning energy. So I want to talk today about 3 things that I saw and noticed that came up as I'm talking to clients, as I'm moving through my life, just things that came up as part of the transmission for Play to Win, but they were things that I felt like needed to be talked about now. So we're going to talk about them now. And then I know that everybody basically is in the United States, but I'm going to have this replay because Play to Win does not have a replay. So I'm going to have this replay available so you can at least get this training as a precursor to Play to Win. Okay, so first thing that I want to talk about, because we've been talking about it all week on Instagram, is the difference between your client and your audience. Because I think so many women get this confused and it causes frustration. It causes just people to shut down and not show up in their genius. It's because they think that their audience is their client and they think that their client thinks like their audience. And I gave this example recently on Instagram of what would happen if, let's say, Michael Jackson decided that he was not going to go solo unless his audience was the one that validated it first. Or if Rihanna didn't build a $1 billion brand, Fenty, because she thought her audience wouldn't convert into sales. Or if Beyonce did not ever sing a note because she was worried about her audience and what they would think. Obviously that sounds ridiculous, right? Especially with the people that I've named and what they've built for themselves and the life that they have. Like, there's no way they could have done it with waiting for other people to validate, waiting for other people to tell them that, oh, it's okay, you can do this, right? They were not waiting for the people that came into their world to be the determining factor as to whether or not they did what they were going to do. So it's similar no matter what you're doing. You don't have to be an artist, because think about the Rihanna example, right? Like, she did music, but she also did Fenty beauty products. And a lot of other not influencers, a lot of other celebrities do beauty or do other things, but they don't really take off. And Fenty took off. Why did Fenty take off? Because Rihanna has such a amazing personal brand that people just wanted to be doing what she's doing. Like, she was such and is such a fashion icon. She is such an icon in so many ways, but she leaned into what worked for her, because although she started in music, that didn't mean that it had to be everything for her. And it wasn't. There was a part of it that it helped, but it wasn't everything for her. And the difference, why I brought up Beyonce, because music is her main thing, right? Music is her main brand, but it's not the same for Rihanna. And if they had tried to beat each other, we wouldn't have 2 amazing moguls. Like, we wouldn't have 2 people living in their full purpose. We would have one person trying to convert their audience into sales and it not working. And we've seen that in some ways with Beyonce, although I love her. I'm, Beyonce fan down. But like House of Darion and different things like that. And I had it, like, I bought it, right? Of course I did. But it didn't change the fact that it was not a Fenty. Why was it not a Fenty? Because people are mostly drawn to her for her music. People were more drawn to Rihanna for her art and her fashion and the way that she expressed herself, her embodiment, not just like the creation of music. So I bring these people up to show that there is such a difference between your audience and between your client, right? The person that's going to buy from you, your buyer. Your buyer and your audience are not always the same, or they don't always operate the same. So I want to start with that, because when I think about women that play to win, I think about women that understand the difference between a buyer, a client, and a watcher slash observer slash audience. There is a big difference, okay? And they behave differently. So whatever your business is, whatever you're focused on right now in your business, I want you to be able to clearly identify at least 3 people that are your audience that you know, and 3 people that are your clients that you know. And when I say client, I mean your dream client. So I can easily identify 3 women that I know that are audience members, and I can fully identify 3 women that are dream clients now. And the interesting thing is, somebody that was a dream client at one point may no longer be a dream client, and they may more so be in the audience now as you do your inner work and as you level up. they actually might become an audience member for a while until they convert into a client, if that's the journey that they're on, if they're planning to convert at some point. Some people, they're a client for a season and they're an audience for the rest. Some people, they're an audience for a season and then they're a client for the rest. Other people, they're in between. They're sometimes client, sometimes audience, sometimes client, sometimes audience, right? It depends on your embodiment, where they're at, what they're doing in their life. So I want to make sure that you know the difference, because for you to actually win, not just play the game for the sake of playing. When I say the game, I mean the game of life, not just play for the sake of playing, but I want you to win. And for you to win, the only way that's going to happen is for you to be clear on what your objective is, what it is you're trying to do, what you're trying to build, what's your goal, and know exactly who it's for. Because if you think that it's for an audience member or members and it's for clients, you're not going to make any sales, because the audience is not there to buy. They're there to experience, they're there to witness. But the client is there to buy. They are the buyers. They're the ones that have their wallet out. They're the ones that's ready to purchase. They want whatever it is that you have, but you have to speak to them if that's your goal. If that's what winning looks like to you. Because for some people, they think that right now they're in that season of client acquisition, when really they're in a season of being witnessed. There's a huge difference. And I don't think enough people talk about this. If you're in a season of just needing to be witnessed more than you're needing client acquisition, you're going to have much more audience, and you're going to be frustrated if you're trying to gain all these clients when the goal right now for you is the audience. Vice versa. If you are in a season where you are in client acquisition, or you're supposed to be in client acquisition mode, and you are trying to cater to an audience, you're going to be leaving money on the table. Either way, you're leaving money on the table, but you're going to be leaving money on the table in super quantifiable ways. So it's important to know what season you're in so you can know what winning looks like for you. And you might be in a season where you're telling yourself, or you think that winning for you looks like client acquisition, when winning for you actually looks like being witnessed by your audience, or vice versa, where you think that it's being witnessed when it's really client acquisition. The goal is obviously both, right? And so we've seen in all the examples that I gave that these people have both as their client, or as their audience and client. So of course, because they were living in their truth, they were able to have both and not just one or the other. So for example, let's say Beyonce, right? Her music, absolutely love it. I also buy her merch. I also buy her products because of my love for her music. And then we have Rihanna, right? I love her music. I love her products as well. I buy her products consistently. She hasn't really given us more music, but I buy her products consistently because they're amazing, and because like her energy, her essence, her brand, she is the brand. Like, she is the moment, and the music is like a side quest for her. So when I say that, it's no disrespect to anybody's artistry, because I listen to and love Rihanna just as much as I listen to and love Beyonce. If she was touring and doing what Beyonce is doing in music, I would be there just as much as I am for Beyonce. Difference is, Rihanna leaned into her love, her passion, and where she was like really excelling. And that was in business, that was in fashion, that was in the branding, the marketing part of things. Whereas Beyonce leaned into where she was excelling more, which was the music, the artistry, right? That being her main thing, and the products are kind of like a side thing. Whereas for Rihanna, it's flipped, where the products are a main thing and the music is kind of like a side thing. So you have to recognize where you're at, what your gifts are, what your talents are, what winning means to you. What does winning mean to you? Okay, so that's the main thing about even talking about women that win. What does winning mean to you? If winning to you means truly, not what you think or society thinks or what anyone thinks you should have, but if you truly believe that winning to you is leaning more into one thing than the other, even though you're expected to lean into one thing, do that, because that's the quickest, easiest way for you to win. I talk about this all the time when I mention how I manifest. People ask me how I manifest so fast. Like, one of my clients is like, you are literally the fastest quantum leaper I've ever met. The reason being is because I lean into what I actually want, not what's expected of me, not what a past version of me would have wanted, not what my mom wants for me, not what my partner wants for me, not what anybody wants for me. What do I want for me, right? And what I want for me is to win on my terms, is to play my game, is to win on my terms, okay? So what that means is that I have to be radically, 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 radically authentic and honest with myself, if no one else, so that I can actually be happy. And that's the number one thing about being a woman that plays to win. Actual happiness, actual fulfillment, what winning actually means to you. It's not the same for anyone else. Matter of fact, I would argue that it's different for every single person. So that's number one. Figure out what winning means to you. Lean into what that is for you. You don't have to try to be everything for everybody. Lean into what works for you. Okay, that's number one. Number two is let me look at my notes here because I don't want to go too long, and I want to get to the three rules, but I wanted to make sure that I let you know exactly what that means, because we can't talk about the rules without you actually understanding what it means to be that person, to be that woman. Okay, so what winning looks like for you is not going to be the same as what it looks like for me, not going to be the same as what it looks like for anyone else, really, because it's your life, right? It's your life. So okay, let's just jump into the rules and then we'll come back around, because there's some important things I want to touch on with you before Sunday. But I want to give you this quote because it came through and it was very, very powerful. So this is something that just like dropped in as a download. I want to make sure I share it with you all here. And I'm recording this separately on my phone so that we can have like a good quality recording, because live streams are never really great quality, and it's like the middle of the night for everyone in the United States, which is like 99% of my audience. So I want to make sure that we have a good quality version of this so that when I do put out the replay that you can watch it, because Play to Win is this Sunday and there's no replay for that. So this will be replayable, but Play to Win will not be replayable. Welcome in, you guys. Okay, so the quote is this: desire requires you to self-source safety. Desire requires you to self-source safety. And when I say that, when I say safety, I mean the feeling that so many women that work with me are waiting for something else to give them. So I can say with full certainty, I've worked with hundreds of women in person and probably thousands at this point online. But one thing that happens more often than not is we'll get to the meat of what the real issue is, and it's safety. And most women do not feel safe. They do not feel like they have that internal sense of safety to live their truth, to be who they are, to go out there and make things happen for themselves, to attract what they want to attract. They just don't feel safe. That's really what it comes down to. No matter what it is they're like coming to me for, whether it's business, grief, love, whatever it is, point blank period, they don't feel safe. And that's usually what it comes down to. So this quote I think is so powerful, because the whole point of Play to Win, Winner Circle, Women That Win, is to actually get your desire. That's the point. Like, that's the actual point of it, is to get your desire, right? And how do you do that? You self-source safety. So if you don't know how to self-source safety, you're not going to be able to get or maintain your desire. Because once you start feeling unsafe, you're going to start getting rid of or repelling, really, all of the things that you actually want. You repel the things you actually want because you don't feel safe internally. So you send out this signal that's negative, not bad, just negative. It's repelling. And that allows you to, not allows is a positive, but that makes it so that you lose what it is that you actually want. And we don't want that, right? We want you to actually win. So find out, based off those examples that I gave earlier, what winning is to you. Whatever it is to you, I need you to be honest about that with yourself. You don't have to be honest with me. Be honest with yourself, okay? Be honest with you. All right, so let's get into the rules. Let me do a quick time check because I have to run in about 30 minutes. Okay, we are good. Okay, so I'm going to break this down in two parts. One is going to be what playing to win is, and one is going to be what playing to win is not. That way you can identify whether you're playing to win right now in your life or not, and you can identify what it actually means to play to win, right? Now that you know what your goal and your desire is, because you're being true to yourself now, because we just went through that whole exercise. Okay, so we'll start with what playing to win is not. The first rule that women that play to win know: playing to win is not trying harder, wasting your effort. It is not. It's not, okay? It's not trying harder, it's not wasting your effort. What it is is directed effort and focus on your desires. That seems so like duh, but it's really not, because number one, most women don't even know what their desires are. Let's start there. It makes me think of Rihanna when she's like, I'm not looking for a man. Let's start there. Let's start there. Most women don't know their desires, okay? So they don't know where to direct the effort. How are you going to direct effort to a desire that you don't know exists, or that you refuse to acknowledge exists? It's impossible. So it's not as easy as it sounds, right? And then when I say playing to win is not trying harder or wasted effort, I'm not saying playing to win takes no effort. I'm saying it's not wasting your effort, because a wasted effort is draining. A directed and focused intentional effort is life-giving. And none of that depends on what other people think, who's watching, who's validating, who's not. None of it depends on that. And I need all women to hear this, because in general, the feminine is negative, and not negative as bad, negative like in charge. Think of it as like charge. It is negative, it is dark, it is negative, it is chaos. These aren't bad things. They've been labeled bad. It's not bad. That's just the feminine. The masculine is light, positivity, the opposites, right? And I say this for one reason, because the feminine nature is not actually what we've been taught. It's not actually this insecure energy. That's just how we've been placed in a box over time. But truly embodied, empowered feminine is positive, because you're using that masculine frame that we all have as women, and you're using it within that self-sourcing safety. I'm bringing this up to say women need to hear that it takes effort, but not wasted effort. You're going to have to do something. It's not that you do nothing. You're going to have to do something, but it's not going to feel draining. It's going to feel life-giving when you're doing the things that naturally lead to the results that you want, because you're in touch with your desires, because you know what winning means to you. Winning to me is not the same as winning to you. And that's a good thing, right? What I consider to be winning is not going to be the same as you. Okay, so that's number one. That's rule number one. We're not trying harder. We're not wasting our effort. We are intentionally focusing our energy towards a specific result or desire. And this is where a lot of women get tripped up, because like I was just explaining, the whole like women have been made to put in this little box. It's like when you cage something for so long, it doesn't know what to do when it's free. And that's what the feminine has been going through for a very long time now, is like, what does it feel like to be free? And we've kind of taken it way far, but we're balancing now. So I say this because when you figure out, feel through, get your desire, like, oh, that's my desire, right? I know that's my desire. It's true. It's real. There can be this fear of, oh no, but what if I can't have it? Oh no, but what is this going to take? Oh no, but is this going to drain me out? Like all this spiral happens of like this doom spiral. And when you start self-sourcing your safety, you no longer have that doom spiral take you down. You still sometimes have the doom spiral. It still sometimes is there. So I'm not going to say it's never there, because that would be a lie. It's there, but you have containment now. You have structures to hold you when that happens now. That's why support is so important for us women, and that's why community is so important for us women, because when we are spiraling, whether it be a hormonal thing or whatever it is, trauma coming up or whatever, we have that support to say, hey, I got you, like cushion you, right? So you don't fall to the pits of hell, like I always say. So you have your floor. You're not going to fall to the pits of hell. And when you have your desire, you know what it is, you can focus on it, you can direct your effort towards it. It feels life-giving, not draining. That's how you know that you're actually playing to win. That's how you know you're playing to win. When it feels like you're trying harder, you're wasting your effort, that's when you're not playing to win. That's when you're optimizing to lose. You're optimizing to lose. When you're doing that, you're optimizing to lose, okay? Think about what I'm saying. You're optimizing, you're making it the most efficient way to lose. There's no winning in that. There's no winning in that. The most efficient way to lose. That's what you're doing when you're arguing against your dreams, when you're not having support, when you're doom spiraling. That's what you're doing. And we all do it. I do it. We all do it. But that's what happens. Okay, that's what you're doing. So that's not playing to win. Don't do that, please. Don't do that. It's already going to happen naturally. Life is hard enough. You don't have to make it harder. Okay. Life's hard enough. Okay. So let's get into number 2. Let's get into number 2. Okay. We're doing really good on time. Number 2, playing to win is not. We're going to start on the negative this time. The third one will start on the positive. Playing to win is not. It is not gambling your fate or relying on luck. It's not gambling your fate. It's not relying on luck. Playing to win is not gambling your fate. It's not relying on luck. It's not relying on the stars. It's not Mercury and Gatorade. It's not that, okay? It's not that. What it is, educated, calculated risk. Taking educated and calculated risk. That is playing to win. When you calculate and educate the risk, you know the risk, you're aware. You're not reckless. You're aware. And you do it anyway. You do it anyway. And you take full responsibility. There's the self-sourcing of your safety, full responsibility for anything that is to happen or to come because of it, positive and negative. You're able to hold whatever comes. That's the beauty of self-sourcing your safety. You can hold all of it. You're taking educated, calculated risk. So this one's a tricky one because as much as there is spirituality and a love for spirituality, like that's my bread and butter, right? Love it. There's been a way that it's portrayed now that's just like lean back, receive, like almost this, there's no distinction of who it's for. So I say this to say, for the women that already have structure, that are internally structured, that have God essence running through them, a lot of it, that is actually the advice they need. These are my clients. That's the advice they actually do need for the most part, right? But there is this other group of people that are still learning and still trying to embody that structure, and they are not the people that need to lean back and receive. And I also have clients like this. They're not the people that need to just lean back and receive. They're the people that actually need to put some effort and some structure into their life. And so it gets sticky when we're giving blanket advice when there's so many different types of people. You all know that I have archetypes in my work, which actually, pause. I have to share this now because I was going to share it on Play to Win, but I'm going to share it now. It's super important. The archetypes in my work have changed. They were introduced in 2023 and they changed in 2024. They change every year, they evolve. And then in 2025, and now it's 2026 and they have evolved. So let me pause because I'm going to be doing more videos on this, but let me pause and introduce my archetypes for those that are watching on the recorded version and the live stream. So 2023, the 3 archetypes dropped in. It was the grounded goddess, the embodied empress, the practical priestess. Those were the 3 archetypes. I'm not going to even go into them now because you don't need to know because that changed. In 2024, I dropped the practical priestess, so now we have 2, right? And then in 2025, the wild heart woman archetype came in. That's how that program happened, the wild heart woman program that I launched in 2025. So now we have 3, wild heart woman, grounded goddess, and embodied empress. 2026, this year, I had not 1, but 2 archetypes come in that completed the system, and I also dropped 1. So I have it's basically a brand new system of archetypes. The only one that's stayed from the original system is the grounded goddess. So now it is the grounded goddess, the threshold oracle, and the sovereign. I haven't talked at all about the threshold oracle. I haven't talked at all about the sovereign. I'm super excited about this because this is the completion of my archetype work. And this is the end of this system. And I'm so glad that I got that transmission. This is it. Like we got there for this system. So those 3 archetypes I'll be going into a lot more soon. But most of my clients are the grounded goddess archetype. And these are women that are heart-led, heart-centered, community-focused, and oriented, and tend to forget that they do need to lean back sometimes and receive. But their fear is that if they lean back, they're going to lose their frame. They're going to lose their structure that they spent so much time self-sourcing. Because these are very capable women, right? These are women that own businesses, have families. Like, these are women that hold and carry a lot. So the lean back and receive is actually for those women, is actually for a majority of my clients. But with context, because what happens is they've been holding it all for so long that when they hear lean back and receive, they either run far from it and they're like, that's not for me, or God forbid, because I haven't seen this really, but if they decide to lean back and receive, they completely lose their frame and their structure. Because imagine holding, let's say, a huge like backpack, and not a normal backpack, like a travel, like the ones that people that hike and travel, the big, huge ones like this, full of rock and cement for years, for decades. And then all of a sudden somebody's like, lean back, receive, drop the backpack. And then you're like scared, but then you're like, okay, and you drop it. Now all of a sudden your legs stop working and you can't stand anymore. Because for so long it was all like your strength and everything was connected to this backpack, and all of a sudden your legs are like jello, like noodles. That's what happens when this kind of woman does that, like just immediately drops everything and leans back, because it's not sustainable. She doesn't have the skill set yet to just walk on her own. She's been using this backpack for so long to balance her and to keep her frame, and so she doesn't know what to do outside of that. That's just an example of like why so many of the women in my world that lean back and receive, they run from it, and that it actually makes them want to go the opposite, because they feel like if they aren't carrying it all alone, that they're just going to collapse. That they're just going to collapse and there's going to be nothing to hold them. And so they've been holding too much structure. They've been holding too much weight, and they feel like if they let it go, that they're going to let everything go. And so they have to learn how to slowly, incrementally lean back and receive. Okay, so number 2, we're going to go over it one more time. It is not gambling, relying on luck, relying on the stars, gambling with your fate, recklessness. It's not that. That is not playing to win. That is optimizing to lose. It is educated risk. It is knowing that this is going to be scary, knowing that this is going to be hard, knowing that this might not work out, knowing that this is a lot of money I'm putting into this, knowing that this is an investment, and taking the risk anyway. That's what playing to win is. And remember, what winning is to you is not what winning is to her, is not what winning is to her, is not what winning is to her. It's winning to you. To you. We all have different values. Okay. Are you ready for number 3? Number 3. I'm going to take a sip of water and then we'll get into 3. Okay. Are we ready for number 3? Are we ready for number 3? Okay. Number 3. I'm going to start with what playing to win is, that third rule, and then I'll go into the negative of what it's not, because I've been starting with the opposite, okay? So, rule number 3, playing to win is living fully in your truth so that you can actually get what you want. It is not doing what everyone else does. The reason why I made this number 3, even though we've touched on it before, is because without this, none of this matters. None of this makes sense. All of it becomes a wasted effort. And then you're optimizing to lose. So I had to bring it back around home to this, because if you don't know what your truth is, if you don't have an identity that feels solid, you're not going to be ever playing to win. You will always be optimizing to lose. You will always be betting against your truth, your dreams, who you really are. This is the most important piece of not just this training or the winner circle or play to win. This is the most important piece of identity and embodiment, period. This is the most important. Because if you do not know what's true for you and you alone, you will be optimizing to lose always. Always. You'll always be optimizing to lose. And most of the time, we are optimizing to lose, we just don't know it. Most of the time, we are optimizing to lose and we don't know it. Why? Because we don't even know what we don't know. We don't even know that we're not living in our truth. We think we're living in our truth. And we're living a life that somebody else wants for us. And we swear that we're not, but we're living a life somebody else wants for us. We're living something that a past version of us wanted for us. Because sometimes that somebody else is just a past version of you. So there might have been a past version of you that wanted exactly what you have right now. Matter of fact, I know it was because you have it now. There's a past version of you that wanted what you have right now, the good and the bad, and that thought that they would be a certain way or want a certain thing from this point, from where you are today, from where you are now. But you're here now. And when you're here now, you have a new awareness because you then wasn't actually here now. You then was imagining what you now would want, would feel, would desire. But you're you now. So you now has a whole different set of wants, needs, desires, thoughts, actions. And you have to somehow fill that gap of like what that version of you thought you would want and what you actually want going forward. And most times, more times than not, those are different. Why? Because that version of you did not have full and total access to this version of you. Otherwise, you would have already been this version of you. I hope that this is making sense and you're keeping up. You only have a limited awareness when you're that version of what this version actually is. Just like you now only has a limited version of what you with the $50,000 months, or you with the hit record, or you with the travel lifestyle, or you with whatever, I don't know what you want, you with what you want. You have a limited awareness of her. The goal is to increase your awareness of her so you can embody her more, so you can play to win, so you can embody her more. And you can see, I put on this new skin. I'm her now. And then you go, okay, well, what do I want now? It's a whole fresh awareness. It's a fresh awareness. So you're going from the ground floor and you're looking up and you're saying, wow, the first floor, I wonder what's on that first floor. I imagine what's on that first floor. And then you work your way up and you get to the first floor. And you're like, wow, the first floor, wow, I had no idea it was like this here. This is actually really cool. And now your brain and your eyes are communicating and everything is like taking it all in. And you're like, wow, okay. Now that I'm here, I'm actually inspired to do something different because now it's a brand new level. You're at a brand new level. New floor, new level. New level, new devils, as they say. New floor, new level. So your awareness is like a blank slate now, all over again. Because now floor 1 is your ground floor. Hear me when I say, now floor 1 is your ground floor. I hope you caught that. And so now you're looking up at floor 2, you're like, I wonder what floor 2 was, because floor 1 was not what I thought. It actually surprised me in the best ways. What is floor 2 like? And so you do the same thing. You embody, aka walk your way up to floor 2. You get to floor 2, you're like, oh my God, this is nothing like floor 1. This is crazy. What? Floor 2 is dope as hell. I love this. You get to floor 2 and you're like, oh my God, now I want to do this and this and this and this and this. And I'm inspired. And I don't even want to do that anymore because now I'm here. And I'm like, wow, this is so cool. And then from floor 3, which is now your ground floor, then you move up and you're like, wait a minute. If I can go from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3 in each time, what if I go for 5? What if I just skip floor 4 altogether? That's quantum leaping. And you go, I wonder what's on floor 5. I know it seems so far away, but what's on floor 5? So you get up to floor 5 and you realize, holy crap, I didn't even need floor 4. I didn't even need floor 4. I could have skipped floor 1 and 2 the whole time and just came to 5. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you get the point of like where this is going? Joshua Moreno, hello. Do you get what I'm saying? Welcome in, Joshua. Point of what I'm saying is, if you, well, 1, you don't know what you don't know. You can only imagine until you embody it. And when you embody it, you're like, oh my goodness. So for example, when I was planning and thinking of and dreaming of moving to Thailand, I didn't know exactly what that version of me was going to want, desire, need. And I was aware enough to know that. I was like, I don't know exactly what she wants. I have an idea, but I don't know. But it wasn't until I got here that I got to sit in the fullness of who I am now and go, oh, actually, this is what's inspiring me now. This is where I feel like things are headed now. And then move in that direction. How you can skip floor 4 and go to 5, or you can skip floors 4 and 5 and go to 7, is by tapping into the awareness in advance, which is a skill. It takes intuition, it takes honoring of truth. And even then, you still won't know the fullness of what you desire at that point. But the more in truth you are now, the easier it will be for you to skip those floors, for you to go and quantum leap. So if I know as a person, as a whole, that I value freedom, that is a core value of mine, and I value art, and I value, like, you know, your core values, you know what winning looks like to you, then you can start to see beyond the next floor, because you're like, okay, well, I know that I've already done a few floors. I know myself a little bit now. I know myself pretty well. Certain things, because I'm always surprising myself, but I know certain things. If I take what I know and I project it out, I wonder, in a broad sense, if instead of just doing, I don't know, a 10K month, that I do 50. Because why would it be much harder to just do it times 5 instead of times 1? And who would I have to be then to do that? Because I already know that I enjoy large chunks of money at once. I enjoy high ticket clients. I enjoy high ticket sales. I'm speaking directly about myself, by the way. So I go, okay, I don't like the one to many as much as I like the one to few. Although there are people that I know and I love and I follow, mentors of mine as well, that do one to many. They love one to many. They love selling to many people at a lower price. That's not winning to me. That to me feels more draining than it does filling. You know what's winning to me is one big client, 2 big clients, 3 big clients, because that's when I can serve in the way that I like to serve. But if I'm trying to live somebody else's idea of what winning means, I'll be running around in circles. I'll never experience the fullness of what winning to me looks like because I'm trying to do it based off somebody else. So I'm giving you this real world example because it was something that years ago I discovered about myself in my business, is that I don't enjoy one to many. One to many is cool, and I do it, and I've done it, but it's not my bread and butter. Just like how I said, Rihanna, music is her side gig. Beyonce, it's her main gig. Beyonce, products are her side gig. Rihanna's main gig. They leaned into what was better for them. Doesn't mean they're not good at both. Doesn't mean they don't have fans and audiences for both. Doesn't mean people don't enjoy both, because they do. But what is your thing? What is your gift? What lights you up? What gives to you rather than drains you? And I believe that, especially in Rihanna's case, she found that fashion and art and just being an icon, beauty, was her lane. And she got in it and she rode that, right? And people are still begging her for an album. And vice versa with Beyonce. People will sell their firstborn to go to her concert. But maybe they'll buy Sacred. Maybe not. Because they're in their lane. They're in their zone of genius. They're not trying to be the other. Imagine if Beyonce was trying to do what Rihanna's doing, or Rihanna was trying to do what Beyonce's doing. We'd get diluted versions of each. We wouldn't get the fullness of that one individual and what they can do. So what I'm saying is, rule number 3, living in your truth to get what you want. That is the most important rule, because if you don't know how to even access your truth, you can't live in it. And if you don't know how to live in it, you can't play to win. And if you can't play to win, you're optimizing to lose. And it's not the worst thing in the world to optimize to lose, because it teaches you things. You learn about yourself and you keep moving. But eventually that gets draining. That process gets draining when you're like, okay, how many cycles of learning this am I going to do until I can just play to win? As many cycles as it takes for you to be real with yourself. As many cycles as it takes for you to be real with yourself. And only you have the answer to that question. Those are the 3 rules. So I'll go over them one more time. Rule number 1, playing to win is focusing on your desires through directed effort. Number 2, playing to win, I should probably do this one so I don't flick you guys off. Playing to win is taking educated risk, calculated risk. Playing to win is, rule number 3, living in your truth to get what you want. Those are the 3 rules. And if you embody them fully, you'll always be winning. You'll always be playing to win if you embody them fully. Okay? And here's another one that I will sort of end with, because I have something special for you guys, so don't leave yet. But that I will end with is that expectation is not the death of desire. Abandonment is. Expectation is not the death of desire. Abandonment is. So you expecting some sort of outcome is not the death of desire. It's not going to kill desire because you expect this client to come through, because you expect this song to hit, because you expect or you want this to happen. It's not going to kill the desire. It actually is going to make the desire stronger. What's going to kill the desire is abandoning the desire because you're afraid to self-source that safety and step into your own containment and be okay that if it doesn't happen, I still gave it my all. And if it does happen, great, let's celebrate. But the only way to know is to optimize to win by playing to win. It's the only way to know. So here's how I will end, because I do have to run to the studio. I've just been asked to host the biggest, hottest Caribbean dance event, social, next month. So I have to go and practice and get to the studio and talk about some marketing stuff. But before I do that, this Sunday is Play to Win. Play to Win is the official full training of this content. And if you like this content that I did today, if you liked what I talked about today, if you're like, oh, how can I get more? Sunday at 10 Thailand time, 10 a.m. Thailand time, 10 p.m. Central Standard Time in the United States, that is when Play to Win will be happening. There will be no replay. And we'll be talking about that, all the content, but then also the Winner Circle mentorship, my mentorship that I have. There are still 2 spots left. We start in July. It is 6 months. We'll talk more about it on Sunday. But if you want to keep tapping into this frequency, keep learning all of this, make sure you're on my email list. Make sure you're following me on socials, Nina the Muse. And email. Make sure you're on the email list. And this week, I may go live impromptu a few more times because I love this topic and I can talk about it all day, and I talk about it with my clients, and it's just something that's really alive right now. But Sunday, do not miss Play to Win, because there will not be a replay, and it's going to be the fullness of what we talked about today, okay? Okay, that's what I have for you, my loves. So I will see you then, and of course, I'll talk to you in email. But until then, take care of yourself. Bye.